So, hello and welcome to our series of short interviews called Members' Voice. Presented to you by the World Didact Association, these interviews are created with the intention to provide brief insights into what current challenges within different fields of education exist and what potential solutions may look like. In today's session, we would like to take a closer look at electric vehicles, and I'm being joined by Mr. Daniel Braun, manager of the Lucas Nulle Academy in Kerpen, Germany. Daniel is originally from Australia and is now living in Germany for over 10 years. He has an automotive background and is very passionate about the transition to electric vehicles and its implications on the required knowledge base which technicians require in order to repair and maintain the newly developed vehicles. Welcome, Daniel.
Thanks, Danny. It's great to speak with you today.
Happy to have you here. Daniel, my first question relates to the importance of hands-on training and the impact of homeschooling in recent times. In your opinion, are there any ways to bridge the training gaps?
So I think with a topic as important as high voltage, there is a certain amount that we can do via e-learning, so obviously working from home, but I think it's really important to realize that there is still a lot of hands-on that needs to be done when we're talking about high voltage vehicles. One really needs to understand how to isolate these vehicles and to know what you can and can't do. And I don't think that you can really substitute that for basically anything online. It's something you really need to practice and experiment with yourself.
Okay, great. Well, hoping that the world will come back to normal someday, however that will look like what the new normal should be, where would you say lie the skill gaps between current vehicle maintenance and electronic vehicle maintenance technicians, and what potential solutions are available to close those gaps?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Danny. So I think one of the important things to remember here, we've got real vehicles, and especially with automotive technicians, the technology up until now hasn't really changed that much. And so if we start talking about things with high voltage, three-phase motors, inverters, high voltage batteries, that might be for electrical engineers, no problem whatsoever, but for automotive technicians, this is really a new world, and I think that's where the skills gaps is. So especially on the safety side, what's interesting, I did a LinkedIn post just last week, which it kind of went very big. It had more than 2,000 likes. It was just showing what can happen when a high voltage connector is pulled apart while there's current going through there, and how it explodes and causes a huge arc flash. Wow. And it just generated a huge amount of interest with automotive people, especially with firefighters as well, just talking about what the safety aspects are. And so I think that's one of the main things is really understanding this new technology. So, and I think some of the things that we're doing to help with that, so for example, some of the equipment that we've got here is used at World Skills, for example, at some of the different World Skills national events, plus also at the international events, to try and bring awareness, to make sure that people are aware. A lot of teachers are aware that this technology is coming, and so we need to prepare for it. And I think that's important, that the young people who are training now are really prepared for that when they go to the real world, to the workshops, and they're experiencing these vehicles, that they understand beforehand what to do, what they can and can't do.
In your opinion, what are the most important aspects to getting an electric vehicles ready workforce?
I think there's probably a number of things. So as we mentioned before, understanding the safety is probably number one. And so there is a lot that can be done with e-learning. So don't get me wrong, don't want to say that it's not possible, but there's a lot of theory to understand. There's a lot of new technology. So that can be done online, for example. But as far as being prepared for it, I think even though it's taken a long time for electric vehicles to kind of proliferate, We're seeing them everywhere now, but they've been around, let's be honest, for more than 20 years. So I think a lot of countries are still lagging with their qualifications. So what really needs to be done at the national level to essentially protect the technicians and the people working on these vehicles? So, we've got here in Germany something called DGUV. It's kind of like the occupational health and safety standards within a country. Some other countries have different training qualifications. We also partner with the Institute of the Motor Industry, and they offer an international qualification for electric vehicles. And so I think that's really important to set some sort of standard as far as what needs to be taught. There's obviously what safety standards and what safety components need to be understood when working on these vehicles. And so I think, yeah, obviously there's a lot to understand about the technological side of electric vehicles, but really understanding what needs to be done at the safety level. And that's very much related to the qualifications. That's probably our biggest challenge and biggest skills gap, I would say.
Okay. This may sound redundant slightly, but do you see regional differences when it comes to preparing the workforce for electric vehicles?
Absolutely, absolutely. So that varies around the world, and it varies within countries as well. So it's funnily enough here in Germany, electric vehicles have taken off very slowly. Everyone's, as they say, Benzin and Blut. Everyone loves their combustion engines, but they had some of the first electric vehicle qualifications, probably close to 10 years old now, and they've been doing a lot of training, preparing for this. So that's been great to see. In places like the US and Japan, there's been, they're the two largest market for hybrid electric vehicles. So there's been a huge amount of work being done there as well. Not necessarily at the same level as qualifications, but the skills, if we're talking about actual skills, a lot of people there are very skilled when it comes to working on these vehicles, because there's just, so in the US, for example, there's, I think, more than 6 million either hybrid or electric vehicles on the roads there. So they need to be kept maintained and running. But we're also seeing a lot of countries where there's absolutely zero experience, and the vehicles are on the road now already. And so that's one of the biggest challenges, to make sure that the people, we got people working on these cars that have never actually worked on a high voltage system, maybe not even sure what they're doing. And so I think that's one of the most important things to kind of rectify at the moment.
Sounds scary.
Yeah, it's from what I understand at the moment, no one's been killed from an electric vehicle, but the amount of cars being put on the road now is being exponential, and kind of comes back to that LinkedIn post that I mentioned before as well. There's firefighters. That was a huge component of the people were firefighters and first responders, just saying, look, we get no training whatsoever, what to do, and how do we know if this is an electric vehicle, and then what do we do if it's an electric vehicle? Can we cut this door open to get this person out as the car's on fire? So it's really important, and I think it's something that we all kind of need to sit up and take notice of.
Absolutely. Great. Coming to the end, do you have anything else you might want to add, which I may have missed, which is important?
I don't think so. Maybe to add that, look, this transition is coming. It's been a long time in the making now. There will be electric vehicles on the road, and we can see more and more. There's new models coming every day, every week. And I think it's just going to take an effort from all of us to make sure that we get everyone trained up and understood how to be safe when it comes to operating and fixing these vehicles.
Really great insights, Daniel. Thank you so much. And I do hope that many of the viewers of this video will contact you and come at you with further questions which they may have.
Absolutely. Any questions, more than happy to speak with anyone that's interested in this topic.
Sounds great. The summary of my takeaways from today's sessions are most likely safety, safety, safety because of the high voltage, and safety again. There's no way around the hands-on training when it comes to gaining confidence as a result of a safe workplace. And defining global standards is definitely a large challenge, but will become necessary to ensure safety standards in the future.
Absolutely.
So, Daniel, I would like to thank you very much for your time and providing us with your views and your insights. And I look forward to further conversations with you in the near future.
That'd be
Thank
great.
you again. Great.
Thanks, Danny. All the best.
Thanks. Back to you, dear viewers. As we do our best to keep these sessions within a 10 to 15 minute time frame, we clearly can't ask all questions we'd like to, but we strongly encourage you to feel free to contact us, whether it be via email, phone call, or at one of our events throughout the year. This is Daniel Brown from Lucas Nulle and myself, Danny Gouch from the World Attack Association, signing off and saying thank you for your attention.